All right, welcome back, everybody. Long time no see, possibly. So we are at a point where our base coat is complete. We've colored everything that we want. You can kind of see that I broke it off. I like sharp little points down here. That's just because it adds like a nice flare to like how it fuses out into the background. So do that with your person's shoulders as well, even though they don't have collars. As long as like their shoulders or something, you don't want it to be like just a floating head. All right, layer stuff. The outline layer, the top one, you can hide that. That won't be shown for the rest of the project, but I don't recommend deleting it just in case. Stock photo here down below should also be hidden. You really only want to see your base coat. Now, before we start doing all the smudging effects, I highly recommend that you make a duplicate of this layer just in case something goes wrong. You have a good checkpoint to kind of come back to. So select your base coat. Again, you can tell it's selected by the blue outline. Click on it again to bring up the layer menu. After that, you're going to be looking for the duplicate button. It's all the way in the top right. So go ahead and hit duplicate. You'll see that it just makes a carbon copy, and now you have two of them. The bottom one, let's leave that as the regular base coat. So we're going to click on it again and lock it. Then we're also going to click on the eyeball to hide it. You won't really be able to tell a difference because your new one is there. But this way, if anything goes wrong with smudging, you can revert back to this hidden layer there and start over at a nice checkpoint rather than starting over entirely. So select this layer here, your second one from the top. This will be our smudge layer. And this part's actually pretty fun. I think it should be a little bit faster than the color one, and this really takes effect in my opinion. I want to go to the smudge category of brushes. That's over here in the top left of the brushes. It brings up your library. We had worked in basic with the technical pen and then legacy with the paintbrush. But if you scroll down further, you're going to find a category pretty far down called smudge. These are really cool. I want to recommend a few real quick in here. One is the Smudge Soft Round Brush. This is really good for skin. So anything that's like flesh. This gives it like a nice smooth texture to it, and it looks more correct than something that has more textured lines. For clothing, I recommend the Smudge Web Brush or the Smudge Round Bristle Brush. This one right here, the Smudge Round Bristle or Smudge Flat Bristle, these two, are also pretty good for hair and facial hair. So let's go over this one more time. Ready? Soft round, it's good for skin. Web brush is good for clothing. Round bristle brush is good for clothing and hair or facial hair, and the flat bristle brush is also good for hair and facial hair. So you can kind of change them up as you need. Now, the one question you might be saying, the one thing I left out here is eyes. Kind of up to you. I think I ended up doing my eyes with one of these textured ones just to try to make them pop a little bit, but you can play around with all of them. I did try a little bit of all of them, but the four that I mentioned here that I'm clicking are definitely the ones that I personally use the most. So we're going to start with the soft round, and I'll show you kind of what it does. You want to work really zoomed in. You can see my zoom percentage in the bottom of the screen right now. Definitely be above 100% for this. And just like we did with the other one, you have a flow over here, and then you also have a size. The flow, I highly recommend that you leave it at around 20%. See where I'm editing it with the slider guy over here? 20%, something around it. Size varies. If you're in a bigger area, make it a little bit bigger. If you're in a detailed area, make it really tiny. That way it'll give you that detail that you want. For the forehead area, I'm going to stick around 35, I think. And we'll see if it works. If not, I'll change it. I can always undo it. And I'm just going to go in and around, and I'm going to smudge. I actually think I want it bigger. I didn't think that would be the case. Now, pay attention to the direction that you're smudging. And you're going to just blend these colors together. Let me maybe decrease a little bit as I get up here. The forehead, should generally, until you get to like the hair sections, should go left to right. And then as you get to other areas, you're going to change your direction. But right now, we want that there. Let me mess with this flow, actually, see what happens. Let me see if I bump the flow up to like 100. Yeah, you can see how like the circles get really rough. I don't like that. I like a lower flow. I might even lower it below 20, go like 11. Yes, that's nicer. The lower the flow is, I think just generally the smoother it is. So I am clicking and dragging a lot, like I'm tapping, I should say. That way it gives you a little bit more of like a softer blend. What not to do when you're in the, especially in this area of the face, is don't just like draw circles and stuff. Like if you start just doing this, it's going to look really bad really fast. Take your time and get these directions right, and really spend a lot of time at the merger points where one color changes to another so that you can correctly smudge them together. I'm going to do a little bit more work here as I talk, just to kind of showcase. Now you'll see I might go up here, but in the final run, I do want to keep my brush strokes left to right generally, to kind of, you know, help it look like it's sweeping across his forehead. Let me zoom out. So if I show this other layer, there's the before and there's the after. Let's move on to hair real quick, and then we'll stop there. In here, I'm going to go back to my library of brushes, and I'm going to go over to the, I'll use the round bristle for this one. Bigger areas of the hair, I can take a bigger brush and start kind of swiping it in the direction, because his hair swoops. I'm going to swipe it in that direction. I might then make it tinier, zoom in even further, and add a little bit more detail to kind of show individual, or more like individual strands here and there. But in bigger areas, like this over here, I can make it a little bit bigger to just kind of speed things up since it's not as detailed. And decrease. And you can see the difference between this brush and the other one is that this has all these little like bristles that should ideally simulate the hair. Now, with hair, again, you're going to be moving in multiple directions. The other big advice I can give with hair is when you go over to where the forehead meets the hair, you can actually go both directions from the forehead into the hair, and it'll give you more of like a organic hairline. I think that's really important, actually. So spend a lot of time making sure that the hairline area looks nice and good. And pull it down. You don't really want to pull the skin into the hair as much as you want to pull the hair into the forehead or the skin, like that. So again, before, after. Huge difference instantaneously. All right, what I'm going to do now is show you my final result. I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to paste what I had copied from earlier just to show you. This is what it looked like when I was entirely done smudging. Whoa. Place them sideways like this for now, just for the heck of it. Let me hide some other layers, zoom in, show you kind of what I did. You can see I got real messy around the edges there. I think it looks really cool when you go around the collar, the shoulders, even if it's not a collar, like if it's their skin too, just break it off. It'll be really, really cool as it like feeds into the background that way. And I was a little bit more careful in the face detail and stuff like that. You can see I did use some kind of textured thing for the eyes to just make them pop a little bit more. Facial hair, treat the facial hair just like you do like hair, if your person has any facial hair. If there's any other weird things, maybe like glasses or something like that in yours, let me know, and like we can kind of come up with a strategy ourselves. But generally speaking, it's probably going to be some kind of clothing, facial hair, eyes, and hair and skin that are like the four main different things. So we will touch base once again when you have everything smudged in the next video. Good luck.